Previously, I was accepted as a disciple to become immortal in the immortal realm. I would join the Fire Kitchen group to train with, and discover that his chosen walk is able to double the power of anything he puts in it, but he loses some lifespan. When he does later, he wins a trial that will allow him to level up. Bai changes his mind, as he would rather sell his spot, but a man who hates him attempts to force him through. The story continues as we see that Bai, surprisingly, wasn't actually forced through the gate. Chin is the one on the other side instead, and a flashback shows that Biswak had automatically rescued him. Chin tries to go back, but the overseer explains that all decisions are final. The strange girl who paid to go through the gate thanks Bai for allowing her to do so and introduces herself, as Bai expresses relief to be staying with the Fire Kitchen, and the group are amazed to find that they now have spirit stones after selling their spots to join the outer sector. They all come up with ways to spend the stones, and Bai states that he just wants a longevity pill. Just then Bai and his group are picked off one by a higher force, and are told that they will be forced to become outer sector disciples anyway. Bai is then momentarily reintroduced to the immortal Li, and he tries to explain that there has been a mistake. Li ignores him, explaining that he must train hard or he will be sent back to his village. After Li leaves, a man named Yun Fei is greeted by Bai. He is then surprised to see how well outer sector disciples are treated. When he receives new clothes, Yun Fei explains that he has never seen the immortal Li so angry at someone before and acknowledges that Bai must have done something against the rules by defending himself, which upsets Yun Fei, when he refers to Li in such a casual way, explains to Bai that he is now an outer sector disciple and must have better etiquette. This is especially true since he is an apothecary. Apprentices, who are those that mainly cultivate the medicinal path among the four main sectors, are chiefly regarded as the best, and Yuf wants to treat him that way. He is amazed and inspired since he hopes to one day learn how to make a longevity pill, which explains that if he works hard enough, Bai will eventually get to the point where a simple pill that extends a life by only 1 year will be nothing for him. Bai is then taken to the script pavilion, which is a dozen times bigger than the Fire Kitchen. He doesn't see any books on refining elixirs, and Yuffie explains that apprentices must first learn volumes worth of plants and spiritual beasts. After that, he will have to pass the giant monuments exam to move on to the next level. Bai notices some scrolls are up high, and your face states that those are sealed scrolls that have gone unused for some time. Just then, a man arrives in search of a specific scroll, but the other worker there can't remember where it is. He surprisingly steps up and, in great detail, gives the man its exact location. The man's excitement at finding the scripture causes others to seek out Bai's help in finding scripts, and you can't believe what he sees despite only being there for a very short time. Bai was somehow able to remember everything so accurately afterwards, but I asked for a copy of a script, and the other was shocked to see that Bai wants to learn the undying power of immortality. The other explains that the script is incomplete, but it's still very difficult to train. I will have to endure bone-piercing acute pain and fierce sensations of extreme hunger, but Bai is determined. The next day, Bai searches for herbs when he is found by Qin Chun wants revenge, so he runs and accidentally runs into a monument meant for someone taking their giant monument exam. Bai is totally unaware as he thinks it's a good place to hide, and he is surprised when a voice announces that the exam tablet has been activated by Fierce. Qin is still waiting, so he decides to stay and go with the exam. He's then told to draw a symbol in order to begin the exam elsewhere. A crowd celebrates as they wait for the goddess to masterfully complete her exam nearby. Bai finally decides on a unique symbol, and as the exam begins, he is told that plants will be taken apart into several different pieces, and that he must put them back together in their original state. After he puts them in the cauldron, the number of correctly assembled plants will be counted. Luckily, he recently read about plants and confidently put them back together. He works hard as the burning stick reveals he is running out of time. Exhaustion begins to kick in as he thinks about how he only has a few days left to go elsewhere. Zoe confidently counts the thousands of animal skeletons she is putting together and emerges from another monument. Everyone is so distracted by her that no one notices her leaving his monument. Mei sees him though and explains that the symbol of the person with the highest exam score will appear above. In the monuments, everyone expects to see Zoe's symbol, which is a vase, as she will then have placed it first in all monuments. Biden remembers how Faye explained this. As well, he revealed that out of the 10 monuments Zoe has placed first the 9 of them, she is challenging the TH now, and if she places first again, it will be a marvel that the sector hasn't seen in over years. The symbol begins to appear as someone explains that they never expected to hear the sound of the divine cauldron in their lifetime. It is explained that the divine cauldron makes a sound for the one who plays first, and all monuments everyone cries. And some people even faint as they prepare to witness history. As soon as those vase appears, however, no sound is heard, and novice appears, as everyone is shocked to see that the symbol is just a turtle. Everyone is completely stunned, and he takes the moment to pretend to be someone else as he states how the turtle was drawn in such a concise, stylish, and adorable way. Just then, a man named Jane arrives to offer congratulations to Zoe, but she ignores him and goes back into another monument. Jean assumes she is upset at him for being late to celebrate, but she's actually just taking the plant exam again. She finishes soon after as she thinks about how impressed she is that someone overcame her score of plants from earlier, but now she correctly assembled them. She is stunned though, as the little turtle appears once again, and she can only wonder how many plants the winner assembled. Biden explains to May that it will take over plants to beat him, and almost reveals that it was him, but he manages to keep it a secret. Some time passes, as we find out that Zoe has tried to beat the little turtle for 7 days in a row, but has failed every time. People everywhere begin to speculate who it might be and assume it must be some old wise man with tons of experience. But hears it all, and thinks about waiting for the perfect moment when an audience is gathered to announce that the little turtle symbol belongs to him. His thought is interrupted as Jean offers a reward to anyone that captures the little turtle owner, dead or alive. Anyone supporting the little turtle is knocked out, as Jen explains how he ruined everything for Zoe. May defends the cute turtle, but Bai saves her from being hurt. May stops him soon after though, and proclaims how inspired she is by the person behind the little turtle. She admires how he beat Zophyr and Square, and hopes to see the little turtle place first in all monuments, eventually earning the secret treasure for doing so. This is the first time Bai has heard of the treasure, and he agrees to join May in cheering on the little turtle sometime later by studying vigorously, as he reminds himself to keep a low profile. May arrives after some food, is amazed by other scripts, and buys a room. Bai is shocked when she compares him to the little turtle, expresses confidence, and buys the ability to master all key consideration levels. May believes he can even reach the foundation establishment phase, and stuns him once again when she reveals that doing so will change a person's lifespan immensely. She goes on to say that there are 3 foundation establishment types. One of them can increase a person's lifespan by 100 years, and another can increase it by even more. Realizes that this might be a long-term goal, and plans to pass all monument exams in the meantime. If he can earn the prize treasure, it will help him accomplish his ultimate goal. Anyway, sometime later one of the chiefs of the sector expresses his displeasure, as he believes the little turtle is cheating since he has been passing monuments at a speed even faster than Soli. Assumes that it's because of the treasure, and the other chief demands that an investigation be started to find out the identity of the little turtle. We then learn that a fight between factions is brewing and innocent people are being hurt. People begin to wonder if the little turtle is fighting back for the sake of righteousness. In just a few months the turtle has come first on 9 monuments, and all efforts to catch him have failed. One night Bai waits at the final monument, and is surprised to see that law enforcement has left it alone. He proceeds cautiously, but we see that once he is inside, a large group forms to wait for him outside. Jin promises not to let the little turtle escape. This time, Enzo arrives to explain that she is only there to see who the turtle is. Just then, the little turtle symbol appears above the final monument as everyone is amazed to hear the divine cauldron ring, and he is astounded to hear it again. After 1,000 years inside, a voice congratulates by placing first in all monuments and by receiving the supreme treasure. The monument opens up as everyone prepares to attack, but they are all distracted by a strange turtle shell. The shell is actually just by his walk, and everyone chases after him. They can't believe a turtle can go so fast, but they are determined to capture him. May interrupts them though, in a fight that ensues between Bai's fellow sector members and law enforcement. However, just then Lee arrives to break up the fight and instructs everyone to leave, and Bai leaves as well, but falls and takes that moment to admire his supreme prize, an immortality pill. He drops it though, and is now at the mercy of a wild chicken. Bai is then horrified, as the dumb bird swallows the pill and flies away majestically several months later. He then explains that people stopped thinking of the little turtle as a wanted criminal and began to see him as a mysterious legend. By now, he has done normal work planting bamboo and explains that he has reached the 4th key consideration level. He hasn't made any progress in becoming an immortal. That is, until now, we watched as Bai trains. He first refines his skin, working the muscles and bones, loosening and tightening everything over and over again. The training is extremely painful, but Bai reminds himself to endure after passing out. Bai wakes to find that he is extremely hungry. It's the hungriest he has ever been, as he explains that no ordinary person would be able to endure it, and he curses the bird that ate his immortality pill. Bai then vows to make all chickens pay, and we later see that he uses a decoy insect to trick a chicken. At a nearby chicken farm, the next day townspeople are gathered by Zoe to be informed that the Immortality's chickens are being stolen. There are no ordinary chickens, as they are spirit-tailed chickens that are very valuable for making medicine. She explains that the thief managed to steal dozens in one night, though she states that Li is deep in training at the moment and is unaware of the situation. Being his disciple, she will take care of the matter and offer her protective pendant as a reward for capturing the spirit-tailed chicken. Thief Bai realizes that things could get bad for him and decides to act fast. Another man jumps ahead of him and makes a suggestion on how to capture the thief by interjecting, as he needs to earn the trust of Zoe, and points out all the flaws in the man's plan. Instead, Bai recommends that everyone team up to form a thief-catching squad. He gives an emphatic speech about how everyone can help, whether they are young or old, man or woman. Zoe was impressed that she agrees with Bai and proclaims that he will be the leader of the squad, while giving him a ribbon as a sign of trust at night. She thinks about how having his new identity will make it much easier for him to steal chickens, and heads to another farm, while he steals Bioshock to hear Zoe's voice exclaim how disappointed she is. But I think he has been caught and realizes that Li will definitely expel him for stealing. He prepares to beg though for mercy, but is shocked to find that she is actually just scolding the farmers for sleeping on the job. Bai is spotted right after though, and dramatically states that he stopped training to search for the thief. He says that he was no match for the evildoer though, and sustained many internal injuries fighting him. Bai takes full responsibility as the squad leader for allowing the thief to get away and, therefore, completely abides by his story. She explains how he was the only one diligently watching his post, and he is the most deserving of her protective pendant. Zoe explains that Bai shouldn't have worked so hard and should rest instead, as she wishes that the sector had more disciples like him. After resting, he continues his duty as the leader of the thief-catching squad as well as his stealing as the chicken thief. One night, Bai buries more chicken bones and laments how there are only a few chickens left on the chicken farm. He realizes that he must expand his operation and heads to other sectors to find more chicken farms. Bai also continues his intense training, but a surprise one night, by a sneak attack in the woods, he dodges the attacks but realizes how out of shape he is since every movement causes him to lose his breath. Bai eventually gets hit by the attack, but celebrates as he notices that his skin has become harder than a turtle shell. Li finally reveals himself and expresses his amazement at how Bai achieved undying skin, and then even surpassed that to reach iron skin. Li realizes Bai must have endured much pain to do it, but is skeptical of something. He points out how, besides the pain, a person must endure extreme hunger multiple times, but by somehow growing very fat. Bai blames it on the bamboo he eats, but Li knows it must be the chickens he is eating. Bai states that he has been wrongly accused, but Li isn't interested in hearing any excuses and unearths all the chicken bones that, by being buried, then screams for help as he thinks Li is going to kill him. Li then takes him away and leaves the overweight Bai and the value of snakes. Thanks for watching part 2. 400 likes, and I'll know you won part 3.